Remember that you are an actor in a drama of such sort as the author chooses. If short, then in a short one. If long, then in a long one. If it be his pleasure that you should enact a poor man, or a cripple, or a ruler, or a private citizen, see that you act it well. For this is your business, to act well the given part, but to choose it belongs to another.
Epictetus was a Greek Stoic philosopher who lived in the 1st and 2nd centuries CE. He was born in Phrygia, present-day Turkey, and during his youth was a slave in Rome to an important administrator in the court of the emperor. At an early age, Epictetus developed a significant interest in philosophy. With his owner's permission, he studied under Gaius Musonius Rufus, who, along with Epictetus, is now considered one of the great Stoic philosophers of the Roman Empire. After acquiring his freedom in 68 CE, young Epictetus became a teacher of philosophy in Rome, later continuing his practice in northwestern Greece by founding a philosophical school there. Epictetus, who led a simple lifestyle with very few possessions, taught a practical philosophy to help people lead meaningful lives. He emphasized integrity, personal freedom, and self-mastery through the use of reason and virtue, which is required to live in accordance with nature. The detailed steps and techniques in this regard presented in his teachings illustrate Stoicism as a way of life. One of Epictetus's most dedicated students was Arrian, who compiled and published his own personal notes from his teacher's lectures into the well-known books Discourses and Enchiridion. Epictetus's teachings have had an immense influence throughout the centuries, including on the great philosopher and Roman emperor Marcus Aurelius, on early Christian moral thought, on current approaches in psychology and more, and continues to have an impact on many intellectuals, thinkers, and philosophers around the world. The beloved Stoic philosopher and teacher was remembered as a lively speaker who was able to make his listeners feel his own insights. Today we continue with a selection from Epictetus's teachings as recorded by his student Arrian in the book The Enchiridion. The Stoic sage gives more guidelines on how to live a life of freedom and one in harmony with nature. The Enchiridion. If you would improve, be content to be thought foolish and dull with regard to externals. Do not desire to be thought to know anything, and though you should appear to others to be somebody, distrust yourself. For be assured, it is not easy at once to keep your will in harmony with nature and to secure externals, but while you are absorbed in the one, you must of necessity neglect the other. If you wish your children and your wife and your friends to live forever, you are foolish, for you wish things to be in your power which are not so, and what belongs to others to be your own. But if you wish not to be disappointed in your desires, that is in your own power. Exercise therefore what is in your power. A master is he who is able to confer or remove whatever that man seeks or shuns. Whoever then would be free, let him wish nothing. Let him decline nothing, which depends on others, else he must necessarily be a slave. Remember that you must behave as at a banquet. Is anything brought round to you? Put out your hand and take a moderate share. Does it pass by you? Do not stop it. Is it not yet come? Do not yearn in desire toward it, but wait till it reaches you. So, with regard to children, wife, office, riches, and you will sometime or other be worthy to feast with the gods. And if you do not so much as take the things which are set before you, but are able even to forego them, then you will not only be worthy to feast with the gods, but to rule with them also. For by thus doing, Diogenes and Heraclitus and others like them deservedly became divine, and were so recognized. When you see anyone weeping for grief, either that his son has gone abroad, or that he has suffered in his affairs, take care not to be overcome by the apparent evil, but discriminate and be ready to say, what hurts this man is not this occurrence itself, for another man might not be hurt by it, but the view he chooses to take of it. As far as conversation goes, however, do not disdain to accommodate yourself to him and, if need be, to groan with him. Take heed, however, not to groan inwardly too. Remember that you are an actor in a drama of such sort as the author chooses. If short, then in a short one. If long, then in a long one. If it be his pleasure that you should enact a poor man, or a cripple, or a ruler, or a private citizen, see that you act it well. For this is your business, to act well the given part, but to choose it belongs to another. When a raven happens to croak unluckily, be not overcome by appearances, but discriminate and say, nothing is portended to me, either to my paltry body, or property, or reputation, or children, or wife, but to me all portents are lucky if I will. For whatsoever happens, it belongs to me to derive advantage therefrom. You can be unconquerable if you enter into no combat in which it is not in your own power to conquer. When, therefore, you see anyone eminent in honours or power or in high esteem on any other account, take heed not to be bewildered by appearances and to pronounce him happy. For if the essence of good consists in things within our own power, there will be no room for envy or emulation. But for your part, do not desire to be a general, or a senator, or a consul, but to be free. And the only way to this is a disregard of things which lie not within our own power. Remember that it is not he who gives abuse or blows, who affronts, but the view we take of these things as insulting. When, therefore, anyone provokes you, be assured that it is your own opinion which provokes you. Try, therefore, in the first place, not to be bewildered by appearances, for if you once gain time and respite, you will more easily command yourself. Let death and exile and all other things which appear terrible be daily before your eyes, but death chiefly, and you will never entertain an abject thought, nor too eagerly covet anything. If you have an earnest desire toward philosophy, prepare yourself from the very first to have the multitude laugh and sneer, and say, he is returned to us a philosopher all at once, and whence this supercilious look? Now, for your part, do not have a supercilious look indeed, but keep steadily to those things which appear best to you, as one appointed by God to this particular station. For remember that, if you are persistent, those very persons who at first ridiculed will afterward admire you, but if you are conquered by them, you will incur a double ridicule. If you ever happen to turn your attention to externals for the pleasure of anyone, be assured that you have ruined your scheme of life. Be content then, in everything, with being a philosopher, and, if you wish to seem so likewise to anyone, appear so to yourself, and it will suffice you. The will of nature may be learned from things upon which we are all agreed, as when our neighbour's boy has broken a cup or the like, we are ready at once to say, these are casualties that will happen. Be assured, then, that when your own cup is likewise broken, you ought to be affected just as when another's cup was broken. Now apply this to greater things. Is the child or wife of another dead? There is no one who would not say, this is an accident of mortality. But if anyone's own child happens to die, it is immediately, alas, how wretched am I! It should be always remembered how we are affected on hearing the same thing concerning others. Intelligent viewers, we thank you for your kind presence on today's program entitled Stoicism as a Way of Life, selection from Epictetus's Enchiridion, Part 2 of 2 on Words of Wisdom.